Assalamu alaikum, masal khair, and good evening, everybody. Very excited to be here. We are a data and insights company. We work with about 80 brands across Saudi Arabia and UAE, help them understand what their consumers want and how the markets operate. So before I start my discussion, I'd like to ask how many of you have read the book Factfulness? If you haven't, I suggest that you do that. In the book, Hans Roslings argues and proves how you can get over unnecessary stress by using and contextualizing research in depth. Now, the book argues that when our brain receives information, it prioritizes negative information first. That's how we are structured. And when that happens, that dramatic information causes a negative worldview in front of us. But that's true in business as well. In a recent Muhimma survey of 650 brand executives across Saudi Arabia, 65% of them said their number one priority for 2025 is to increase their brand equity in order to achieve sustained growth. However, at the same time, only 28% of those executives felt optimistic about consumer spending. Why is that? The main reason is that when brand executives and any business executives in general receive information about the global, the local economic challenges, about what is happening, the geopolitical situation and all, it filters up all the negative information and then the positive stuff goes out. So the answer really lies in data, yes, and we all have heard this for over 10 years now. But the answer lies in reality in how you collect, analyze, and contextualize this data. So here I'm going to share with you 3 key insights out of a tracker study that we have been doing on an ongoing basis since January of 2023. So I'm going to share with you the 18-month period data from January to June 2024. This study involves 3,000 of our community members and covers research across 10 retail categories. In all, the data points are approximately 5.4 million. Now, you all would agree with me that it is impossible to process and analyze that kind of data, so we have built custom machine learning models for structured data and LLMs for unstructured data, because the study not only involves quant research, but also involves focus groups and in-depth interviews and what have you. So what we have found out, so before I tell you that, the objective of this study is to identify patterns of data that hold true across categories, across demographics. When you do conventional market research, what happens is that you usually pick up data as a snapshot. Why are we conducting this tracker study? Because we want to understand how the consumers' behaviors help us paint a continuous picture, and how can we help our customers anticipate and adapt to what's happening. So I'm going to quickly share those 3 insights with you and how did we arrive at that data. Some of these insights you may not agree with because several brands have their own experience, but whatever I'm presenting to you is backed 100% by deep, deep analysis of that data, and these insights have held true across the 10 retail categories that we have researched. Number 1, regardless of how much you feel your brand is niche and is targeted to a niche audience, your brand's customer base reflects the customer base of your category. This has been proven in about 92% of the time across the 180 brands that we have studied. Second, we see a lot of emphasis on loyalty initiatives, investments, but the truth of the matter is your brand's loyalty will only grow when your brand's market share will increase, when your brand's penetration will increase. And third, your brand growth is not necessarily, not always a function of your brand awareness increase. Now, I am going to quickly talk about each of these and show you some interesting data points. So the first one, your brand's customer base exactly replicates your category's customer base most of the time. So here I share with you data for 4 categories: grocery, retail, homeware, fast food, and then televisions. As you can see, the demographic breakdowns across almost all 4 categories for all the brands is almost the same. Of course, there are some exceptions. As you can see, some dips in television and those, but then exceptions always prove the rule. Now, what does this mean for your brand? It means that your brand will grow, and if it will grow, it is going to take share from other brands in your category, starting with the biggest brand and then moving up to the smaller brand. And vice versa, if your brand loses your market share, then your brand is going to lose it first to the biggest players in your category and then to the smaller players. So if you are a small brand which plans to grow, then your best bet, unlike the popular belief, is to go after the biggest brands in your category and acquire their customers. Second, there is a lot of emphasis on loyalty. Now, this is a picture of about 20 brands of all sizes, large, small, but primarily the brands which are investing heavily on loyalty. Now, what happens is, if you can see the charts, the alteration in the loyalty adoption is directly proportional to the market share pattern. If your market share increases, the loyalty increases. If the market share reduces, in most of the cases, loyalty adoption also reduces. Now, what does this mean for your brand? Now, if you wish to increase your loyal customer base, then your best bet is to reach out to wider category customers. How do you do that? You do it by doing 2 things. Make infrequent buyers of your brand, convert them to frequent buyers. And second, convert non-buyers of your brand into your brand's customers. We have seen this across so many brands who are emphasizing on loyalty. Last, customers perceive you as part of your category. Now, brands have this obsession that customers keep thinking about us. Customers are very busy people. Consumers are busy. When they have a need, they rely on a mental map whereby they look at their need, at the category, and the brand. And this association exists on the brand side. Now, contrary to the popular belief that growing your brand's awareness will bring in more customers to you, does not hold true in 82% of the cases. What really does grow your customer base is increasing your brand's availability. And by that, I mean increasing your brand's availability on 2 counts: mental availability or mental salience, and then physical availability if you are a place of physical sales, or digital availability if you are an online sales company. So what does it mean for your brand? It means that when consumers rely on these subconscious mental network, you need to focus on building that network and become part of the consumption occasions that consumers have. These are called category entry points. So you need to work on building more and more category entry points for your brand. Now, this is the research that we have done on category entry points. 21 food types, 6 consumption occasions. What we have found out that, and this may come as a surprise to you, a lot of you, pizza over a period of 12 months has the highest number of mental associations across 6 consumption occasions, starting from breakfast to late night snacks. Now, so for example, if you are a premium burger brand which sells your burger for 120 reals, you can't say my customer base is premium. What you really need to do is to become a part of that beef burger mental association, which by the way is only 22%. So become a part of that mental memory for your customers and then talk about it. So I hope these insights, although very quick, were useful to you. Now, relying on data is the #1 thing that we believe every brand will do in order to do sustained growth. Because if you do not rely on data, then intuition and gut take over. Your right customers leave your brand, and unfortunately, the wrong ones stay. Your market share is lost to smarter competition, your operations bleed, and your growth opportunities get missed. So happy to help anybody here. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.